Welcome to Chapter 12.3, Section B. Learn to write the equations of a line when given 2 points. And our essential question, how do I find slope and y-intercept for an equation? Today we're going to be writing equations in slope-intercept form, but given 2 points. So these will be phrased, write the equation of the line that passes through 1, 2, and 2, 6 in slope-intercept form. So what you're trying to visualize is that you have a graph and you have these two ordered pairs on the graph with a line connecting them. We're trying to find the equation for that specific line. So when we write slope-intercept form, we need the slope and we need the y-intercept. So our first step is to find the slope. Using 2 points, we're looking for the difference in the y's and the difference in the x's. Now don't get hung up on the 2 and the 1 with the y's. That's just to organize that you're picking the same point repeatedly. So what you'll notice is we're going to start with the second point and subtract the first point from it. You could flip these around and it's not going to be any different. So the y values are 6 and 2, so we'll do 6 minus 2. The x values are 2 and 1, so we do 2 minus 1 in the denominator and we get a slope of 4. Now we pick one of the 2 points, either the 1, 2 or the 2, 6. Either one will give us the same answer. And we're going to plug it into slope-intercept form. So let's look at what we did here. The point that we chose was 1, 2. In that point, 1 is x, 2 is y. Over here, we found that the slope was 4. And slope is representing the letter m. So for y, we put in the number 2 from the point. For m, we put in the number 4 from the slope. And for x, we put in the number 1 from the point. We didn't use this point at all. Now we still have the plus b, and that's the number that we have to solve for in order to write our full equation. So the next step is to simplify, and that's the multiplication. So 4 times 1 is just 4. Now we need to continue this process until we get b by itself. So to get b by itself, we want to get rid of the 4. It's being added and it's positive, so we're going to subtract that from 2. So we'll continue this. So we subtract 4 from 2, we get negative 2. So that's b. So now we want to go back to what we had at the beginning, where we had m equals 4, b equals negative 2, and we'll use y equals mx plus b and substitute those numbers in. So our final answer should look like we did the previous day, y equals 4x minus 2. Let's look at another one. Write the equation of the line that passes through 3, negative 4 and negative 1, 4 in slope-intercept form. So we need to find the slope. So we subtract the y values. And the 2 just means it's the second one, and the 1 means it's the first one. So just that we're working backwards. And we subtract the x's in the same order. So we took 4 minus negative 4, negative 1 minus 3, 4 minus negative 4 becomes a plus, so we get 8. Negative 1 minus 3 is negative 4. That reduces to negative 2. So negative 2 would be our slope, which is what we call the letter m. The next step is to choose one of the 2 points and substitute in for x, y, and m. So if we choose the point negative 1, 4, excuse me, that means we don't need this point for any reason anymore. We get y to be 4, m to be negative 2, x to be negative 1. So let's recap that. Y is 4, m is negative 2 from over on the right, negative 1 is x. Now we do our multiplication of negative 2 times negative 1, we get positive 2. We're trying to figure out what b is. We can see that with common sense here. 2 plus 2 is 4, but if we weren't sure, we would just subtract 4 minus 2. So we'll continue this problem, solving for b. we get 2 equals b. So we had m is negative 2 and b is 2. And we're using y equals mx plus b, where our final answer will have b and m replaced with numbers. So there's our slope-intercept form, y equals negative 2x plus 2. Here's a set of 4 practice problems. I'd like you to give these a try, and on the next slide you will see the solutions. So you're going to want to pause it at this point so you don't see the solutions too soon, but feel free to check them. Even if you see the solution, that doesn't mean that you know the steps to get there. So feel free to use the next part of the PowerPoint to check and see if you're doing okay. Maybe do number 1, check your answer. If you weren't successful, go back a few slides and see if you can get through the examples again and see what step you might be missing. At this point, I'm going to flip to the next slide, so if you don't want to see the solutions yet, you'll want to pause it. Here are your solutions. I put the fractions in parentheses just so it would be more clear that the x is not in the denominator, and also just to make it stand out a little bit. So normally we would be able to put them as vertical fractions. I'm unable to type that on here in this setting, so we'll use parentheses instead. So these would all be correct in slope-intercept form. That's it. Make sure your notes are filled out. If you have any questions, put them on the left-hand side, and make sure to go back and use your notes when you have trouble or get stuck.